Midsummer Meadow, just by Beckett's Park, on the night before he was found. And because the Beckett's Park was known as a cruising area, the police decided that they were going to tackle it by trawling through people who seemed to be cruising on the park. So that was our initial involvement. We were hauled in for them to get statements that where we were on the night of Sean McGann's murder. And of course, like good citizens, you actually want to do you want to say something good. What was happening was that the police were trawling the lives of many gay men because they could. Chief Inspector Crawley and his team decided that the focus was going to be looking for somebody that picked him up for sex or for some kind of devious activity. But then the coroner actually found that there had been no signs of sexual assault at all, and deemed that Sean McGann had died of asphyxia. But that didn't come out until 6 months later, after the initial finding of Sean. We were asked by the police, do we know who may have gone down there and who partook of the cruising area? Because, of course, it was an important murder investigation and they quite rightly wanted information. I, unfortunately, I told them one or two people that I knew may be able to help them, but on the caveat that that was to help them with their inquiries. In those days, the police attitude towards gay men or gay people in general was very negative and very hostile. They were more very aggressive in their manner because they saw us as perverts and lowlife. And because of that, they relied on our discretion to gain as much information from us as possible. The word homophobia hadn't really been invented then, although I knew the word. During that time, 9,000 witness statements were collected, but in ways that was detrimental to many people. Many men lost their jobs, many men lost partners. The police went to workplaces, to family homes, to anywhere without due care and attention to ask for information about people, and outed people in ways that actually killed the investigation, in my opinion. Because they focused on one cohort of people, they missed, I think, lots of other avenues, and eventually closed the case down rather than opening it up. Sean McGann's murder was a catalyst for the police to subdue, subvert, undermine the process of liberation for gay men and women. It was a way of gaining access to information that was put on databases. It was an excuse to trawl as many people as possible. It was an excuse to gain information about a group of people that were seen as undermining morals and social cohesion. The Sean McGann murder allowed them to use their powers against us. I was a member of CHE, which was the Campaign for Homosexual Equality at the time, So I was getting phone calls from my friends, saying, "Chris, did you know that they've come to my workplace? That they've outed me at work, and now they think I ought to be sacked because I'm gay and things." And I was having panic conversations with many people whose lives were being changed in ways that I don't think even the police really understood. I said, no, this is a more important issue. If police are doing this, they are ruining people's lives. And so I decided that I'd ring the Chronicle and Echo, which was the local Northampton paper at the time, which was daily printed, not weekly as it is now. And I got a reporter, a female, who immediately said to me, "Oh, yes, we've actually got an inkling they're doing this." So I already got someone that understood the issues around collecting information and how the police were dealing with this crime, this horrendous crime of a young boy being murdered. We talked about it, explained how the atmosphere around the police handling of information was detrimental to many people's lives, and that continuing to do that will curtail the information coming out, because the gay people do not trust the police, will not trust the police. Their investigative processes are counterproductive to the investigation of the crime. The reporter asked me what I was going to be called, because again, it was all about labelling and about how people are being perceived, and therefore the reporter said, "Do I call you a self-confessed homosexual?" Which I laughed at and said, "No, I'm not guilty of anything. I will not be called a self-confessed homosexual. I'm not ashamed of anything. I'm out." And so we kind of skirted around some other options, but we came up with gay activist, because I was also kind of an individual who'd got involved with Gay Liberation Front as well, but off my own bat. And so I was gay activist, Chris Dilworth, in the paper. What happened then was kind of even more traumatic. There came a week in October where there was intense press speculation, police speculation on the death of Sean McGann, because this was 6 months later. The coroner had recorded this death by asphyxiation, and the police had decided to suggest that Sean McGann may have been murdered by a sex beast, and that was the Monday, October the 1st, and that was when I actually had my interview with the reporter, and on the Wednesday I was headlining with a headline that said, "Do gays hold the key to Sean McGann's death?" The headline is ironic. It can be taken ambiguous, can be taken two ways. It can either be, "Do gays hold the key?" or do gays hold the key? And I preferred the second one. And then on the Thursday of that week, to top it all, there was a headline that said, "Sean's best friend has been found dead." The week was astoundingly upsetting.